Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Besancon, and this is your pet tip of the month. It is January, and in January the weather gets pretty cold and anywhere that you live, and so today we're going to talk about a few things that will help that you may want to think about with your pets as far as cold weather, outside, inside for that matter. And so starting out with what is hypothermia. Hypothermia, or being cold, is when the body temperature, especially the core body temperature, in dogs and cats typically gets below about 99 degrees. 100 to 101 is about where you want their temperature to be for your dogs and cats. Obviously there's a little range there, but that's about average of where you want it to be. So when it starts getting below that, you can start showing some mild signs of being cold, all the way down to when it gets into the 80s is pretty severe and probably needs some medical attention from a veterinarian. What are you going to look for? A couple of things. One is they may just start to shiver. They may get a little depressed, not want to move around much, and as they progress, they will become almost what they comatose, where they won't even move, and that's whenever you get into the more severe stages. The heart rate drops drastically, and these guys can even die if left cold long enough. And so definitely want to think about a few things this winter to make sure that we can avoid this. What do you do if these things happen? We'll talk about a little bit later. As far as being outside, a couple of things you want to avoid. One, if you can at all keep them inside, you want to keep them inside as much as you can in a heated area. If you have an outside dog that needs to stay outside, what you may want to do is get them a shelter where they can block the wind. Sometimes heated lamps and things like that will help these guys that are outside. Cats need to stay inside if at all possible. Things you want to watch out for cats that are outside: a lot of them like to go under hoods of cars and sleep. Sometimes when the cars have been recently run, they're a little warmer, and they'll get up under there and they'll go to sleep. So whenever you go out to start your car in the morning or whenever, you need to make sure that these guys are not under there. Some people say just beat on the hood, make sure, give them a chance to get out of there if they're in there. Definitely don't want to damage them if they get up in there. As far as leaving your pets in the car, if you go somewhere, your car can act like a refrigerator. As in the summer, it acts like an area where it can get pretty hot pretty fast. Same is true in the winter. These things can get pretty cold pretty fast, and then your dog's temperature will drop pretty fast as well. Hairy dogs that have long hair coats, cats for that matter that have long hair, you want to definitely not shave these guys during the winter. The hair gives them a lot of warmth and protects them from rain, hail, sleet, anything like that, but just breeze in general. And so keep the hair on them if they have a long hair coat. For the guys that have little short hair coats, thin hair, you may consider getting a sweater or some type of jacket for these guys. Give them extra shelter for sure. Make sure to bring them inside. So that's another thing to think about. As far as puppies and kittens, these guys don't tolerate heat or cold as well, so in the wintertime, definitely watch them and make sure that they don't get cold. If you're potty training them at this time and they can't tolerate the cold, maybe try to think of a couple different things: pee pads, things like that, and or short times outside. Down in South Texas we don't have much snow, but that's another factor. Hail and sleet, we will have some of that, and so these are some things you have to worry about with your pets as well, especially just making sure that they have some kennels or crates or a shaded garage, something like that they can get in. What happens if they do get cold? Things you want to do is try to warm their core body temperature up. Wrap them in blankets, throw them in the dryer for a little while, wrap them with that. Heating pads are good, just make sure they don't burn themselves. Other things that you can do, one is obviously call your veterinarian if it's that bad. But wrapping these guys up, getting them warm is going to be the best thing. Make sure they have plenty of fluids and stuff like that, and a veterinarian can assist you with that. Some things to worry about, not necessarily related to cold, but directly, but ethylene glycol or radiator fluid. A lot of people are changing their radiator fluid, and in the winter months, you really have to be concerned with these guys, especially if they're looking for water. Maybe not as much rainfall in the winter. You need to make sure that they don't drink this stuff. This stuff is highly toxic to them, and definitely an emergency if they get into some radiator fluid. they can get really, really sick on that. So just a couple of things to think about in this winter season. Hope you all have a good winter and be safe.